Dan Pena is an entrepreneur, author, and speaker best known for his tough love approach to coaching. He went from growing up in a tough neighborhood, being beaten by his father, and being jailed multiple times for alcoholic incidents, to starting his business with only $820 and now helping entrepreneurs around the world. Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dan Pena, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Embrace the pain.
Growth only comes through pain. You probably don't have any athletes in the audience. But anyway, for those that have read about being an athlete, okay, no pain, no gain. It's the same in life. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Dan Pena, Ted Turner, amongst a whole bunch of others, all had one thing in common. We all slept in our office the first 5 or 10 years of our business life. Slept in our office. The first 5 or 10 years of our business life.
Rule number 2, fly like an eagle.
The emotional bank account. How does someone build their emotional bank account then?
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Mm-hmm. You can't get rid of your parents.
Yep.
But if love got the job done, we wouldn't have problems in life. Mm-hmm. There would be no world wars. If love really worked. Mm-hmm. And you know how and my mom was a big believer in love got the job. Love and prayer got the job done. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, dissimilar to Filipinos, love and prayer, and no matter how many kids you have in the Philippines, and I've had a lot of employees, even if they have 40 kids, it's God's gift. They need another kid like they need AIDS, but it's God's gift. What kind of stupidity is that? That's not God's gift. You just should have practiced rhythm, and God, you can't use contraceptives. No, not that. Okay, and I know the cardinal there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. High performance people fly like eagles. Eagles fly alone. Mm-hmm. Zuckerberg has no mates. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk has no mates. Mm-hmm. Steve Jobs had no mates. Mm-hmm. Bill Gates has no mates. And I can go on and on and on and on. Mm-hmm. They don't hang. They don't chill. They don't go to the Super Bowl. They don't go to the World Cup. Yeah. They don't go to Wimbledon. All they do is work. Mm-hmm. I fall into that category.
Rule number 3, build high self-esteem.
When you started all your being a rebel and basically causing havoc, where did that come from?
Well, it came from, you had to be tough where I was raised. There was no soft people. Everybody was a hard ass. And if you weren't a hard ass, you got the shit thumped out of you every day. But the rebel part, I've always had high self-esteem. I didn't realize growing up that most people don't have self-esteem. I thought everybody did because my little group, where my alpha male father had a lot of self-esteem. He was a war hero from the Second World War and the Korean War. And he had a lot of self-esteem. And the guys that he was around had a lot of self-esteem. And so I took advantage of that self-esteem. And it was in a legitimate way. When one guy has self-esteem and 15 don't, it's very easy for that one guy to control the 15. Mm-hmm. And I utilize that in the financial world, and I've been utilizing that, and now I teach the kids how to build self-esteem. Low self-esteem isn't a permanent thing. It's like a drug habit. You can get rid of it. It's not easy. In fact, it's very, very difficult to get rid of it, but you can. And so but self-esteem is the basis of all high performance. And when you look around, people like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, they all have a lot of self-esteem.
Rule number 4, be hungry.
They fall into 3 categories, the kids that come to the house. And I call you all kids because I'm either old enough to be your father or grandfather, okay? Now, in an audience I was a couple days ago, there were actually 2 guys my age. So So, and one couldn't hear, and he was trying to go like this, you know. But he says, I can hear you, Mr. Pena. Well, that's good, because it's very seldom that somebody in the audience can't hear me. So they fall into three categories. 10 years ago, my demographics were between 40 and 55, meaning the people that came were interested in me. 10 years later, my demographics are 15 to 35. 15 to 35. Now, the people that come, a third of them don't have a pot to piss in nor a window to throw it out of. They don't have €2 to rub together. They don't have €2. They've either taken a mortgage out on their house, and in the United States, they can even get student loans, which I don't understand that exactly. But I mean, they get student loans. And of that third, half are still in school, living at home. Okay. The next third have businesses that really aren't real businesses. All they are is they've produced a job for themselves, a job for their wife, a job for their, their cousins. They're doing between 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 euros a year in business, and maybe 2 million euros in business. They've got a business that barely gets along. A third of them have been reasonably successful vis-a-vis conventional wisdom. They've got businesses 5, 10, 15, 20 million. We've had some people that actually had some serious money. So those third. But that's no representation of who's successful. Because the third that already have money figure out this is too much work. Okay? The third that's in between, life has a way of catching up. Their mother is dying of cancer. And I'm not saying this because it's funny. Their 9-year-old daughter gets pregnant. 9. And their whole life, you have a 9-year-old daughter that gets pregnant and you keep her, your whole life changes. I've seen it with my own eyes. Okay? And the third, the kids have less baggage. We have kids, the only asset they have is a 15-speed bicycle, which kind of puts the same category you're in. A 15-speed bicycle. For those of you that have done any research at all, on my website, we have teenage multimillionaires flying around in their own jet planes. Teenage multimillionaires flying around in their own jet planes. They understand that?
I think they do.
Okay. You should be embarrassed. Teenage multimillionaires flying around in their own jet plane. And he's the one that had the 15-speed bicycle. That's why I use it a lot. He's not a teenager anymore. He's 21. If he were standing right here, Josh Kim. He's half Korean, half Caucasian. But the one thing that they all have in common is they're hungry. Hungry for a better life. Hungry for change. Hungry for the tough love their parents didn't give them.
Also, if you want to have more confidence and self-love, check out my 254 series, where every day for the next 254 days, I'll send you an awesome video for free to your inbox to help you shift your confidence forward. The links to join are in the description below.
But no one does know initially, up front. You have to try. You have to swing at the plate. A kid like you, if you had to keep track of 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, what you do, you want people with a like mind and that are better than you, smarter than you, more intelligent than you to get on your bus.
Rule number 5, go all in.
But the kids don't want to. Jack Welch says it better than I, because when I hear these questions about balanced life, I go berserk.
Me too.
No, there's life choices and they have consequences, Jack says, which I agree. That's a nice way of saying, but there's no balanced life. You're either all in or you're not.
Rule number 6, have great passion.
There was a period of time from 1971 to 1996, I had no days off, including the day I got married. I worked in the morning. Mm-hmm. They just did a chart on me 2 years ago, based on the hours that I've worked. I'm really not 70, I'm 131. I'm 131 years of 40 hours, 5 days a week, because I still work 60, 70 hours a week or more. I used to work 100, 110, 115 hours a week. When I was your age, I could work 4 or 5 days in a row with no sleep. go out for a 10-mile run, and come back and work another day. But the difference is I loved everything that I've ever done. Looking back in hindsight, I absolutely adored. I had great passion for it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have great passion for it, it gets old quickly. It's like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, ladies. A boyfriend. I mean, after 2 dates, 2 nights, you want to kick him to the curb. And you're asking yourself, how did I get involved with this?
Rule number 7, don't accept no as an answer.
Do you think all your boisterous stuff when you were younger and your anger and frustration, when did you channel that into changing your life and creating a business?
I channeled it when I saw how different I was. I channeled it that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Okay? The mealy mouth that sits in a corner reading a book doesn't get much attention. Okay? The wallflower girl, Lassie, doesn't get much attention. And so I learned that the more I open my mouth, I've refined my ability to talk and speak over the years. When I was a young guy, I was just pushy, obnoxious. Now they call me, I'm not pushy, obnoxious. I'm still pushy, but not obnoxious. It's hard to call somebody with as much money as I have obnoxious. So they just say I'm pushy. But I almost will never take no for an answer. I don't care. My reply to you, if you say no to me, that's something I've requested. How can I make it so it's a yes? What can I change about the proposal? What about the structure? I normally turn half of the no's into yeses, because normally it's something you said, you did. It's not like the Glasgow football, the Rangers versus the Celtics. It's not that kind of thing. It's not ingrained that they were raised to say no to you. Okay, they said no based on you didn't tick one of the boxes, and so when you learn to push the right buttons, as my Yorkshire wife would say, to push the right buttons, you know how to narrow it down to turn some of those no's into yeses.
Rule number 8, ask, ask, ask.
I think we would like to know, how does it work? The QLA principle.
Okay.
The basics. What can you teach in?
There's only one moving part to the QLA model.
How does it work?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. There's only one moving part. If it was a two-moving part, I couldn't explain it to the Dutch guys. But since it's only got one moving part, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you can get this. Motivated seller. Now, I know it's not politically correct to talk about having sex with 1,000 partners anymore. But rock stars got nothing on Dan Pena. I got more ass than a toilet seat at a bus station. And I was proud of it. How? Because I asked. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And you've been taught all your life not to ask. To politically fit in.
Rule number 9, love yourself.
You can't be a good father, a brother, a son, or whatever, unless you feel good about yourself and you love yourself. Mm-hmm. Most people despise themselves. Most people are ashamed. I have a slide on my website. It's a guy that was lashed 100 times. Where he goes, he belongs to a group of young people about your age that are so ashamed of being snowflakes, so ashamed of being so ashamed that they haven't accomplished anything in life other than went to good schools and got good education and living off their parents' tit. And they beat themselves. They're so ashamed. And then I tell them, well, at least you're not so ashamed you're going to commit suicide, because I think that's the biggest form of being a coward, committing suicide. Most people hate who they are.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is don't search for experience algorithm.
The good news is there is no compressed algorithm for my 50 years experience and your 35 or 40 years experience. They haven't figured out how to do that yet. And probably not in my lifetime.
Hopefully not in mine either.
Yeah. And so that's the benefit we have. And you made the comment earlier about people that are stealing our and they're charlatans. They are taking things that we have developed or stand for, and they are benefiting without the experience. So where it really comes to bear is during a Q&A, and that's why most of these guys don't have Q&As, because they can't answer the questions. They can't answer the question, I mean, intelligently.
Sure.
And so, and whereas guys like us can, because unless you've lived it, you're just, you're reading something out of a book, or you're listening to a podcast.
Now, I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, if you're still here watching, I want to celebrate you. If you commit to taking action after watching this video, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
Kids have been convinced wrongly, in my opinion, that reading books and listening to podcasts and researching stuff on the internet is taking action. That's not taking action. Pulling the trigger and doing it trial and error, just as you alluded to a minute ago. It's trial and error. Most of the stuff I know is because I've been involved in every kind of happening possible. When I spoke at Oxford a couple of years ago, one of the guys in the front row said, "Do you realize that I've read 700 books on personal development?" And I commented, "Well, I didn't know there was 700 books on personal development." Then a guy that was sitting two spaces over said, "Who would you rather have? Somebody that is advising you, counseling you, mentoring you, a person that has read 700 books, or a person that has done 700 transactions?" Well, I've done many more than 700 transactions, but I mean, I want the person that's got some gray hair, bald head, wrinkles, that has lived life advising me, not some guy that's some academic that has read 700 books.
If you want 10 more awesome rules from Dan Pena, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Be more selfish. If love got the job done, you wouldn't need podcasts, you wouldn't need seminars. It doesn't. Tough love gets the job done.